In this video, we're going to learn purpose clauses, which is another use of the subjunctive. First, let's review. Latin verbs can be conjugated into any one of the three moods, and the tone and meaning of each conjugated verb is dictated by the mood. Let's look at a few examples. For the indicative, our example is ambulat. He walks. For the imperative, our example is ambula. Walk. And for the subjunctive, our example is ambulet. Let him walk. The subjunctive is a statement from a non-neutral observer who has a bias or opinion that they wish to express. Here are a few examples. We might see the speaker's will, such as in the sentence, he should not talk right now. We might see the speaker's wish, such as in the sentence, would that Rome win the war? And we might see an element of possibility, such as in the sentence, Cicero might speak this evening. The subjunctive can also be used to show that a part of the sentence is being subordinated. Here's an example. He is going to Rome in order to see the consul. In fact, this example has a purpose clause. We're going to explore this more in just a few slides. Finally, remember that you will learn various ways in which the subjunctive is used in Latin. Consequently, there is no one way to translate a subjunctive verb into English, but rather you must learn each of the nuances of each construction to provide an accurate translation. Here are a few examples of purpose clauses. She will go to the beach to pick up seashells. He will go to the mall to pick up girls. I will send my brother to find the shark. Marcus will run to escape the man-eating squirrels. Note that I have underlined a portion of each sentence, particularly the portion of the sentence that shows purpose, that is the purpose clause itself. And these phrases explain why someone does something. So why will Marcus run? Marcus will run to escape the man-eating squirrels. Let's take a look at this sample sentence. I come to class to teach many marvelous students. However, first we're going to rewrite this in the Latin mindset. I come to school so that I may teach many marvelous students. When I write the sentence like this, it might be a little easier for you to figure out why a subjunctive is being used, as opposed to an infinitive, which is what we use in English. So in English we have to teach, whereas in Latin we have so that I may teach. Now, what is it about the purpose clause that we use a subjunctive for? Well, essentially what has happened is that we have subordinated a jussive clause, something that shows will or goal. And so we might say, I come to school, may I teach many marvelous students. So we have this, may I teach many marvelous students, subordinated into our main clause, I come to school. That's really what's going on here at its linguistic heart. Here's the basic structure for essentially all standard purpose clauses. You may see some variation in authentic Latin, but here's the essential foundation. First, you're going to have a main clause. Then you'll have the particles either ut or ne, depending if the sentence is positive or negative, followed by a subordinated subjunctive clause. That is a clause that contains a subjunctive verb. You know to use ut if you're working with a positive purpose clause. For example, I come to school to teach many marvelous students, or so that I may teach many marvelous students. We typically translate ut as so that. Next, we have negative purpose clauses, such as Marcus runs away so that he will not be eaten by man-eating squirrels. We would translate ne as roughly so that not. Let's practice. Go ahead and take I come to school so that I may teach many marvelous students and identify the following 3 items. Identify the main clause, identify where we should put the ut or nay, and then identify the subordinated purpose clause. Go ahead and pause the video now and take a guess. In a few seconds, I'll switch the slide. Okay, so our main clause is I come to school. The phrase so that is represented in Latin by the particle ut. And then our subordinated purpose clause, that is our clause that contains the subjunctive verb, is I may teach many marvelous students. Now let's address tenses. The subjunctive verb in our subordinated purpose clause, which expresses purpose, is put into the present subjunctive if the main verb is present or future. However, the subordinated subjunctive verb, which expresses purpose, is put into the imperfect subjunctive if the main verb is past. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. First, I come to school to teach many marvelous students. The main verb is come, venio. Because the word venio is in the present tense, we need to use the present subjunctive, as you see with our verb discam. Now let's look at the second example. I came to school to teach many marvelous students. Because I came is in the past tense, we express this in Latin as veni, then we need to use the imperfect subjunctive, disceram. For further explanation regarding the tenses of purpose clauses, I direct you to the Sequence of Tenses video. Our final example. He is hiding so his mother will not find him. Our main verb in English is hiding. We express this in Latin as celat. Then we use a negative particle, ne, because this is a negative purpose clause. And our subjunctive verb is in the present tense because the phrase is hiding, or celat, is present. Next we have he hid so his mother would not find him. The verb hid is in the past tense, or perfect, celawit. Again, we're using the negative particle ne. But because our main verb is in the past tense, we're going to use the imperfect subjunctive for our subordinated subjunctive clause. So we have the subjunctive invenierat. Okay, that's our brief introduction to purpose clauses.